Hello, welcome to Code Monkey's Coding Adventure. The first topic we're going to learn about is sequencing. Sequencing is when you put things in a certain order. For example, days of the week are in a certain sequence. First comes Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, and so on. Actually, real life runs in sequences. You probably have a plan for getting up each morning. Maybe it's that you get out of bed, then you take a shower, you put on your clothes, you brush your teeth, have breakfast. That's the sequence that you run through each morning. Well, code follows a sequence also, and that's line 1, line 2, line 3. It always runs in that order. So what that means is that when you plan your code, you got to think of not just the commands, but also the order of those commands or the order of the actions. Let's take a look at an example. Here's an example where we want the monkey to get the 3 bananas. To get to that first banana, we know the monkey is going to need to step 15. Now, you could look at the monkey and see where it's facing, and it looks like the monkey is going to need to turn also. So we know we're going to have a step and we know we're going to have a turn. But what order should we put those in? Let's try, if we would have put step 15 and then turn left. We know those commands are right. But it looks like the order isn't. It's because code runs from the top of the program to the bottom, it's going to step 15 before turning left. We want to do the opposite. So I'm going to take this and put it below. That looks right. And now we just need to do that same sort of thinking to get to the second and last banana. So now that we've gone over sequencing, it's your turn. Good luck. Welcome to Objects and Friends. Let's learn about objects. Many programming languages are object-oriented, including Python, Java, and our very own CoffeeScript. In CodeMonkey, objects are the characters on the screen. And because CoffeeScript is object-oriented, it means that you can use those objects in your code. Let's look at an example. Here's a challenge that has several characters on the screen. You can tell which characters are objects by hovering your mouse on top of the character, and if a name pops up, it means it's an object that you can use in your code. So of course the monkey, got the turtle, both bananas, and all these bushes. But is the ruler an object? No. And Gordy isn't one either. But all these other images are objects. Now, let's see how we would solve this challenge. So we want the monkey to get the apple in the stream and also the banana in the stream, and also this banana. So the monkey will have to somehow, I think, get on the turtle, have the turtle move across the river, and then go and get this banana also. So what we could do is we have the command turn to, and we could turn to any object. I mean, I could turn to one of these bushes, but I think I want to turn to the turtle. So I will say turn to, and because this is an object-oriented program, I could just say turtle. And then I could step. Now, I don't need to mention the monkey in my code because since the monkey's the main character of the challenge, it automatically will do the monkey. The step and the turn to will automatically refer to the monkey. But if we want the turtle to step, I'd have to mention the turtle. So right now we're going to have the monkey step 10. So let's run that. Okay, so now the monkey is on the turtle. So next we want the turtle to go and step. So because we want the turtle to step, I actually have to say turtle step. And let's see how far it is. Okay, I think it's 15. Okay, so turtle step 15. So it's actually turtle period step space 15. Okay, let's run that. Okay, we're all lined up. I could have the monkey turn to the banana object, but they're saying I also could just walk backwards, and that would be less code. So let's do that. So do you remember how to make the monkey walk backwards? Yeah, you use a negative number. Okay, let's run one more time. Okay, we did it. Well, hopefully that explains how different characters are objects and you can use them in your code. Now it's your turn to use objects. Good luck. Welcome to Loopland. Let's learn about the times loop. The times loop repeats code for you. Isn't that cool? Use it when the monkey will be repeating the same actions over and over again. This is how you write the times loop. First, you have to decide how many times you want to loop your code. And whatever number that is, you put it in for X. Period, the word times, space, dash, greater than sign. You see how the dash greater than sign looks like an arrow? And then underneath you put all the commands you'd like to loop on. Make sure you indent those commands, and you do that by using the tab key on your keyboard, or you can use 4 spaces. Let's look at the times loop in action. Here's a challenge that probably looks familiar to you. We want the monkey to collect these 3 bananas, and it looks like there's a sort of pattern here. But if we were to code it sequentially, we would, let's see, what do we want the monkey to do first? We want the monkey to turn left and then step 15. That gets us to the first banana. Next we would turn left again and step 15. That gets us to the second one, and then we'll turn left and step 15 to get to that last banana. Okay, let's make sure this works. Okay, it works, but we want to use a loop instead. So, let's see, we've repeated the turn left step 15 3 times. So what we could do is just have one occurrence of that pattern and put that one occurrence into a times loop. Okay, by default, it's giving us the 3, which is exactly what we want. But if we wanted to loop, let's say 5 times, we would just change that to a 5. But we want it to loop 3 times. Now, you see how the turn left is indented, but the step 15 isn't? What would happen if we did that? If we just ran the code like that? The monkey turned left 3 times and then ran the step 15. Now, sometimes you want code like that. You want to have a loop and then you want to do something afterwards. And that's how you would do it. But in this case, we want to do both of those commands in the loop. So I want both commands indented. So now if I run it, it will turn left in step 15 3 times. Very good. And we get our 3 stars. Yay. Okay, very nice. So that's the times loop. Now it's your turn to use the times loop. Good luck. Hello, welcome to Variable Valley. Let's learn about variables. Variables store values. The values could be numbers, strings, or even objects. Here's a piece of code where we use a variable with the name n, the assignment operator, which is the equal sign, and the value is 5. So 5 is stored in the variable n. Later in the code, we could use that variable n with a command such as the step command. Step n. Since n is 5, we're stepping 5. So anywhere in your code where you use a number, you could use a variable instead. Just make sure you assign the variable a value before you use it. Let's look at an example. Here's an example where we have 3 variables in the code. N has the value of 5. And it looks like n is controlling how many times the loop goes around. X has the value of 5, and it looks like that's how much we're stepping each time. D has the value of 72, and that is the amount of degrees that we're turning each time. And if we look at the challenge, you could see the monkey is stepping and turning in order to go in a circular pattern. Okay, so let's just go ahead and run this. And what's really cool in CodeMonkey is there's this table here that will tell you the starting value of all the variables, and if they change, that change will appear there as well. Oh, it looks like we need to change the value of how far it steps. X. 10. So X should actually be 10. And since we changed that to 10, now when we step X, it'll say, what's the value of X? 10. So you see how X is 10 now? Okay, let's look at one more example. Now in this example, you could see that the monkey is stepping in a spiral sort of pattern. And first, the monkey is stepping 8, turning, and then stepping 12, turning, stepping 16, turning, 20, turning, and 24. How are these numbers changing each time? Yeah, it's changing by 4 each time. 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 4 is 16, and so on. And you see how the code they're giving us, they have D is equal to 8. So that's the initial distance here. And then we have a loop where we're stepping a certain amount, D, and then turning left. And we're doing that over and over again. But we want this D to be 4 more each time. So the way you code that is say D equals D plus 4. This is a really common way of coding a variable changing by a certain amount each time. So the way the code works, it will evaluate what's on the right-hand side. Say, what's the current value of D? 8. Add 4 to it, and then put it into the new value of D. And that happens over and over again. Also, let's just look at this code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I think we actually need to loop 5 times instead of 3. So let's go ahead and run this. And remember to look at the variable table to see how it changes. See this variable table? See how D is changing? Isn't that cool? I love having this table. All right, very good. Now that we've reviewed variables, it's your turn to try variables. Good luck. Hello, welcome to array indexing. Let's learn about array indexing. An array is a way to store many items together. So if you have a lot of numbers, you can store them in an array. Many strings can be put into an array, or even many objects. For example, many bananas can be put into an array called bananas. Use indexing to refer to a single item in an array. For example, bananas square bracket 0, which we could say bananas with the index of 0, is the first banana in the bananas array. Now you might wonder, well, why is the first banana bananas with index 0? Well, array indexing begins at 0. In fact, most counting in coding begins at 0. So if you have 3 items, those items would have the index of 0, 1, and 2. Let's look at an example. Here's an example where we have several items as part of our challenge. We have 2 bananas. So those bananas could be put, and they are, into an array called bananas. This one has the index of 0, and this banana is in the array bananas with an index of 1. We also have all of these bushes that are in an array called bushes, and each one has a different index. Since there's only one monkey, it's not put into an array, it's just monkey. So let's see how we would solve this. Turn to banana 0, so the monkey's turning to bananas with index 0, and then stepping the distance to that same banana. And then turn to bananas with index 1, and we probably want to, let's see, step the distance to banana 1. Okay, let's try that. Great. Let's look at one more example. Here's a challenge with beavers. We have 3 of them, and they are in an array called beavers. So we have beavers with index 0, with index 1, and beavers with index 2. We also have all of these islands that are in our array. And when we have our single monkey and our banana. So let's see what this challenge is all about. Looks like we are having this first beavers with index 0, step 4. This beaver steps 8. What do we think beavers with index 2 will step? 4, 8, probably 12. Let's see this. Oh, we need to move it. So a good way a little tip for moving code around is you can do your cut and paste using your keyboard shortcuts. And then we want to step 12. Okay, and then we will step the distance to banana. Okay, let's see how that works. Great. Now that we've learned a little bit about array indexing, it's your turn. Good luck. Hello, welcome to the for forest. Let's learn about for loops. Use a for loop to repeat code for each item in an array. So for example, if you had an array called bananas, and there were 10 bananas in the array, if you say for B in bananas, this for loop is going to repeat for each banana in the array. So it's going to loop 10 times. And each time, this variable B will hold a given banana. So the first time through, B is going to be the banana with index 0. The second time, it will be the banana in bananas with index 1. And so on, all the way through all the bananas. However, if bananas just had 3 bananas in it, it would loop 3 times. Let's look at an example. Here's a challenge where we have 6 banana objects. And each of these bananas are in an array called bananas. Here we have bananas with index 0. So each of these bananas have a different index. And since there's 6 of them, the index is 0 through 5. Now, if we look at the code, we know we want the monkey to pick up all those bananas. So if we look at the code, we're using a for loop for B in bananas. So this is the name of the array. And because there's 6 bananas in this array, this for loop will repeat 6 times. Each time B, which is a variable, will store a different banana. So the first time through, B is bananas with index 0. The next time through, B is bananas with index 1. And so on, all the way to bananas with index 5. So it repeats 6 times. And the first time through, when we say turn to B, we're really saying turn to bananas with index 0 and step the distance to bananas with index 0. And then the next time through, we will be turning to bananas with index 1 and stepping the distance to bananas with index 1. Now, one point I want to make is B is only valid within this for loop. If I use B outside of this for loop, it would not work. The program would not recognize B. It's only valid within the loop. Let's look at it. Let's go ahead and run this first, and then we'll look at another example. You see how it's nice how we see what B is each time. B is bananas 4. B is bananas with index 5. Here's a challenge with turtles. We could see in the challenge that we want the monkey to step onto the turtle and then have the turtle move to the banana, and then the monkey to step onto this turtle and have the turtle move to the banana, and then have the monkey step onto the last turtle and then have the turtle go to the banana. So we have 3 turtles and 3 bananas. You have to decide sometimes which array you want to loop on. And we have the starter code that tells us we are looping on the turtles. There's 3 turtles. So how many times will this for loop repeat? 3 times. And each time T is going to be a different turtle. So let's see. We want to step. We probably don't want to, we want to step more than 0. We want to step the distance to this turtle. But we know that later on we're going to want to step to this turtle. And then here we're going to want to step to this turtle. So instead of saying, turtles with index 0, instead I'm going just to say step the distance to T. because t will change each time through the loop. And then we're going to have the turtle that the loop is working on, step 10. Let's just make sure that is 10. It's actually 20. So let's put 20 in here instead. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, t is turtles with index 0. Now t is turtles with index 1. And now t is turtles with index 2. You see how flexible that is? Now that we have reviewed for loops, it's your turn. Good luck.